So I get a lot of people on call when I'm on calls, and they say like, I'm worried about failing. I'm worried about losing money. I'm worried about, the unknown. And I say those are all the things that will happen. Yeah, and you're not getting away from it. You're going to lose money. You're going to take some L's, and you don't know what the heck is coming up.
Be afraid. You will be afraid, but just do it.
Yeah.
Because we're afraid of everything. Think about when we were baby nurses going to the floor.
Right.
I was so scared for the needle in somebody.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Now I'm like,
Right.
boom. There you
Right.
go. Use that fear as a positive feedback.
Yeah. Welcome to the Nurse Boss Shift, where you guys know we're bringing in the dope people to help you nurses get your business started. I am Dr. Kiiyonna Jones.
And I'm Crystal P, the Beauty NP.
And today is a very special episode. First of all, we're in Houston. Let's start there. And second of all, we just realized when we were setting up that this marks our 1-year anniversary. We have actually been doing our podcast for a year. And so it's extremely special for us because we started ugly. And so you guys know we come on and we talk to you about entrepreneurship and mindset and all the things, but we are really, truly living it. And so the perfect person to have here with us today, who is also living it, is Miss Tifany. Yeah. Tifany, aka Telehealthpreneur, is joining us today. Tifany, introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Tifany Brown. I'm a certified family nurse practitioner. I am from Houston, Texas, to my city. I am on all social medias, Telehealthpreneur.
Yes. All right. And so today is going to be a little different than what we normally do, you guys, because I consider this like a sister girl conversation. Now, we've been knowing Tifany for a very long time. And so, Tifany, I really want to, because most of the people who are following and listening, they may be either aspiring to be an entrepreneur or more likely at the beginning part of their journey. Mm-hmm. And so I want to, because we have been very close throughout your journey, and I want to talk about like the different pivotal moments on your trajectory that has led you to this very moment right here. Okay. And so I'll be asking you a series of questions, and of course Chris is going to be asking you some questions as well. But can you take us to like where this all began? We don't have to, tell us, you've been a nurse for a while, we know that, but like when did the entrepreneurial bug like bite you? When did you like think and the light bulb went off? Okay. What was that process like?
It probably was during grad school. I was doing my clinical rotation at a clinic that was owned by a nurse practitioner. Mm-hmm. And she was doing amazing. Like, she was doing so well that she had to open multiple clinics to accommodate the amount of patients that she was getting. So that was my first, like, representation really does matter. And so seeing her do that, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that one day. For sure. Absolutely. Okay. So that was the very first bug that I had. Mm-hmm. But obviously the idea of doing all that sounded very far. And I thought I would be like in my 40s when I finally decided to start.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Do not do That's still young. Not for okay, go ahead.
Right. So after I got out of grad school and I felt very comfortable as a nurse practitioner, and then I was like, all right, it's time for me to do something else. So I started doing meal preps. So one of my first businesses was a meal prepping business. And then I also did, y'all know those tumblers where you put the sparkles on them and personalize them. So I had the entrepreneurship bug in me, but I never really thought about doing it in the nursing space. Mm-hmm. And so once I was like, okay, it's time for me to start that practice that you wanted to start, Tifany. So then I remembered having a virtual visit with MD Live, which was like the OG telemedicine practice. And so I remember when I had that visit, I saw that doctor and I said, I want to be like you. Like, I want to see patients virtually one day. Mm-hmm. So once I got more serious about it, I started researching what's the best way to do that. How can I open a telemedicine business? Can I open a telemedicine business? And so once I figured it out and the answer was yes, it was go time from there. So that happened in 2020.
Dang. And so what was your process as far as research? Did you just go on like Google and then spend countless hours? Like what?
Yes, I did. Originally, I did. I mean, I Googled a whole lot about what was allowed for nurse practitioners, what was allowed in my state. And at the time, it was still during the pandemic. So we didn't have a lot of patients. So I would like use the printer at my job and print out like 50 pages of research and go home and like highlight it all and organize it. And I did find someone who had a course that kind of broke down a little bit of it, but it gave you, it told you what you needed, but not how to go do it. So I still had to spend countless hours and mistakes trying to figure out how to actually do it. But yeah, I always say like I was hungry enough to do it. I wanted it so bad. And every day after work, I went into my living room and I had these books everywhere, these binders everywhere. Every day I was working on it and it finally happened. And actually it's really good to keep those binders because I've looked at them recently.
Right.
And from 2020 until now, I have accomplished everything that I put in that journal. I was like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And I've done it.
And what were some of your steps as far as like mindset? Did you do anything? Do you feel like did you know?
I didn't know about mindset at first. And one of the biggest things in life that will definitely test you is entrepreneurship. Like it will test you gangster real fast. So I didn't really know or understand about mindset until I did invest in a business coach. So going to networking events, I remember my first networking event that I spent like more than $100 on. I was like, oh my God. But that's actually where I met you. And then I met another one of my business besties and it was great. And so that was my first time. I don't think if I didn't have guidance, I probably would not have connected the dots that I needed to stay mentally ahead of the journey. Because your business is only as healthy as you are.
Oh, that's powerful.
That's so true. So going back to, you had all these binders. What was the moment where you said, okay, I'm going to start putting this into practice? Like, did you have to, I guess, build out first, or did you focus on clients first, or did you focus on what service you want to run?
Yeah, so there's something definitely called Infobesity where you could just like take all this info in and then you look back a year later and you're like, okay, I have all this information, but like, what have you done? So the best way that I kind of stopped myself from going into Infobesity mode, or analysis paralysis is also a term, I put a deadline on it, and I work very well with deadlines. And so I was like, by September, no matter what's going on, you will announce that you have this business. And so in September, I announced that I had the business. Could I see a patient? Yes. Was it pretty to see that patient? Absolutely not. It was a hot mess. But because I said that I was going to do it, I didn't care that it wasn't perfect. I was like, I'm going to figure it out as we go. And I am a strong believer that God wouldn't send somebody to me God wouldn't send someone to me that I wasn't prepared for or had ill will towards me. So my first few patients, they were very patient with me. They were understanding. They knew that honestly, I was doing better than all the providers that they had seen before because I took time. I asked them questions. Well, they didn't care that my logo wasn't in the right form. They were like, I didn't even notice that. You know, they only wanted what I already had in me. The rest is just bonus. Just doing it.
I always told you that you were a master executor, like, because you'd say what you're going to do and you do it. And like, even me, I still, that's a big challenge for me. I'm much better, but like, and Crystal, we talk about it too. Like it's a struggle, like, you know, because it's always other things you can be doing. Like if you try to do it at home, you got laundry, you got kids, you got this. If you try to do it at your job, at your location, at your med spa or your office, you got other things you can be doing. So like, what are some things? It's one thing to set a deadline, but like, how did you do it? Tell me. Because a deadline is just a deadline, but like, how did you take them? Did you break them down into bite-sized pieces and say, every day I'm going to do two such and such, or what did you do?
Right. So if I put something on my to-do list and it's a big task, okay, so setting up your EMR system, for instance, that's one of the tasks. So putting that on my to-do list, just like that, set up my EMR system. After work, if I only had 30 minutes, I'm like, that's too much. I won't be able to set it. I only have an hour. Oh, I can't do it. And then I look back a month later, I still haven't set up my EMR. So instead, I would take that big task and then I would break it down into 20-minute tasks, 30-minute tasks, 45-minute tasks, and I would make it into a checklist. And then I would feel better when I can check something off. So physically, I would check it off and I'd be like, you did something today that got you a little bit closer to that goal, as opposed to just staring at it like, I don't have time.
Yes.
So breaking it down into smaller pieces, and it's human nature for us to feel like we succeeded in something.
Yeah.
So if you keep that big task as a check, you're never. It's going to take a long time for you to be able to check it off, even if you're doing it in small steps.
Yeah.
So if you just make it into smaller pieces and then you tell yourself like, look at all that I did today.
Yeah.
That keeps you motivated. Like, okay, I am going somewhere. It does feel like I'm moving.
Yeah.
That's so good because I do that. I'm like, I don't have time for that today. But you're right. If I broke it down consistently into bite-sized pieces.
I break it all the way down as far as like eating lunch, like making my snack, eating lunch, drinking coffee. I put everything down because there has to be something. I'm sure there's a scientific word for it. Something is released in my brain when I'm like,
sounds like dopamine.
Whatever it is. It's like, girl, you did something today, as opposed to feeling like because I didn't do that big task, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
My therapist taught me that. She told me that a lot of women, when we don't feel like that we accomplished something, we are very down on ourselves, and it takes a lot to get out of that place. So if every day you can say that you've accomplished something, you still go into that place, but not as deep, and you can get yourself back out.
That's what my therapist told me, that my self-worth is not reflected or tied to how much I got in productivity. And that was like a big release, too, because I feel like just so down on myself. Because I didn't get anything done, but that doesn't define.
It doesn't. And then she would tell me to put my hand on my heart and ask myself, did I do the best I could? Yes. Is there something on my to-do list that still needs to be done but can wait until tomorrow? Almost every time it's yes, because I run an emergency room. So nobody's life is dependent on no one's gonna die because I didn't check it off. So it's like, okay, go to sleep and move on.
So you started your practice, and then you dared to venture into helping other people start their practice. So tell me why?
I started my practice, and I was just minding my business, and other nurse practitioners would find my practice online, and they'd reach out to me, and they would message me, and they would ask me how I did this, how I did that, and I'm sitting there like, me? You're asking me?
Yeah.
From the outside looking in, it looked like they had it way more put together than I had it, and that's when I learned the difference between just doing it ugly, because like, I was doing a lot on the back end, even though it may not have felt like it to me.
Right.
I obviously was. And so it started off with me just answering a few questions. And then, as you both know, those questions can become a lot more, and then it takes more time. So then I just added this call. I was like $15. I was like, at least if they have to put their card in, they won't waste my time. So at least I don't mind giving some information if they feel a little committed to it. So I did that. And then the things that I was telling them, it sounded very like common sense to me, but then they were very amazed by it. So I was like, okay, maybe I do know a little bit something. You know how you just need to feel like, okay, maybe I do know a little bit more than what I feel like I know.
Yeah.
And so then it turned into a little bit more. And then whenever initially I was working with you, and I wanted to grow a particular program in my clinic. And you're like, do you know how many people don't know how to do what you're doing?
Yeah.
Because at the time I had like 36 licenses. I was seeing patients all over the country.
Yeah.
And so I was like, really? And so we kind of just dabbled in it. And it really is. And it's been so rewarding. Like, first of all, I still feel like I'm doing it ugly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's my Telehealth year anniversary as well. Yeah. So it's a whole year, but so much. And so many nurse practitioners just like, even if they haven't launched their practice, the idea that they know that there's a means to an end,
it's possible.
Yes, they see it. Representation matters. Like the NP that encouraged me to start it, she didn't know she encouraged me.
Yeah.
But just by doing what she was doing, oh my gosh, I can do it.
Yeah.
So that's
how my first was an entrepreneur, and she was like, oh no, I would never work as a staff NP. And I'm like, really? And then she starts telling me, and then that's when it's like, oh, right.
Yeah.
This is something I hear. That's so cool.
It's something that I want to scream to the roof. Like you can't unknow it is the problem for us. And so because you can't, you just want everybody to see it through your lenses, because as you grow, especially as a coach and a mentor, you are constantly in a position where you are learning, where you are elevating. And as you start to put the pieces together, it's kind of like that scene from A Beautiful Mind where you're seeing all this, you're like, oh shit, they use that. Like, I can be my own micro healthcare system on my own.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't have to, like, if you really think about it, I was thinking about this on the plane here, and I was like, you know, we go to school, we study, we sacrifice, we invest, we take out loans, we whatever. And then we graduate, we take a test, we pay for that. You become a nurse practitioner, you go back to school, and then you take a certificate or a test, exam, whatever, you take that. And then you go and you work for somebody that pays you what they want to pay you, though. Like, they don't even just give you back what you already invested. They pay you. Right.
Yeah.
And then tell you what you can do, when you can do it, how you can.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, in my mind, I was thinking on the plane, I was like doctors and nurses, nurse practitioners, all of us, like, we can create our own micro healthcare system, and we will provide much better care because there's no system. We remove the middleman, like, and so I can't unlearn that. Like, you can't unlearn that. And so even when we're talking to healthcare professionals, we come from that perspective where a lot of them are not in the place yet. But I want you to see it. Like, I want to articulate that to you so you can understand why we are so driven the way we are. It's not, now, Tifany, you already a driven person. I'm sorry. Because from the time I met you, that's just who you are. But most of us are not like that. We require like a push, right? And we require someone to tell us and introduce us to to our better version of ourselves and other options. Like you said, what did you call it? Representation is important. We look for that. And so for me, that's what happened to me, but I'm not motivated. I procrastinate so much. But if it comes to helping other people, baby, I am going to go to the end of the earth to help other people. And so that's what drives me, not like just my own motivation. But I feel like, Tifany, with you and you helping other nurse practitioners, for me, it's a no-brainer. Like, nurse practitioners, like, yes, you're a medical provider. But yet I know, because when we were at the Chicago event, people were saying to you, like, like, I thought we had to, and I'm just thinking, y'all didn't know? But you know what? It's by design. It's not an accident that you don't know how to leverage your license. And then here you have us content creators and on social media pointing and dancing, telling you multiple degrees, telling you what you can do. So tell me how's your conversation, and how do you, some of the things that you may tell, nurse practitioners on your calls, that kind of, what's the most common thing you've heard, and like, what's the thing that you usually tell them that'll flip that switch?
So the first thing that I do, I'm like, you have to let go of everything that you know of, that you believe how a nurse practitioner should practice, where they should practice, how much they should be paid to practice. You have to let all that go before I can even have a conversation with you about telemedicine or entrepreneurship. So first, I'm like, let it all go. The second one is, you do realize when you start this telemedicine practice that you are jumping into entrepreneurship. Like, they're not separate. So I feel like, unfortunately, a lot of people see the benefits of working from everywhere and the virtual aspect, and I want to do this, I don't want to work for anyone else. But I'm like, okay, we can do that, but you also have to be ready to become your own everything. That MA in the front that signs people in, you're not going to have that anymore, right? That the back billers, you're not going to have them anymore. Is it possible? Absolutely. Like, I've been doing it for 3 years now. It's absolutely possible. But first, we got to switch your mindset from a medical provider to a business owner. Because now you're not a hospital that accepts everybody. You get to choose who you want to work with. And that in itself is powerful, because we all have our own superpower. Like, I'm a family nurse practitioner, but do not put a pediatric patient in front of me. Like, I would not do well with them. They would not do well with me. But I can do very well with entrepreneurs, with executives, because the way that I give care is very direct. They like that. They're like, okay, so first you need to recognize that you have everything that you need already inside of you to be successful. And the reason that you even have that bug, the reason that you're on my page, you're in my webinar, you want to talk to me, is because there's something more inside of you than you're already doing. So you don't have to question it anymore. Don't ask, can I? Now it's like, how can I get this? How much do I need to print out? Where can I highlight all of this? Like, who can teach me how to do this? Because you already have that seed. I don't even know how many people on this earth there are, but not everybody has that seed, and it's okay. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be successful. But when you do have it, it's because there's something else on the other side, and now it's your responsibility to go explore it. One of the things that you told me that like sticks to me when it comes to someone not letting other people down, you're like, the longer that it takes for you to do the thing, the more those people that you're meant to help are going without the thing. As a provider, that like chills. There's something inside that you're like, I know I can help a lot of people with PCOS or hormone imbalance or whatever the situation is. I know I can help them, but where I am right now, I only get 15 minutes with them. So there are people, you feel like that because there are people that you can help. And so the longer that you sit on it, the longer those people are going without your help.
And that right there, even you hearing you say it, and I know I said it, but it still gives me chills because especially as us as healthcare providers and healthcare professionals, like most of us are in it because we want to give. And so imagine being in a position where you can serve the masses. Like way more. And then in your situation, Crystal, in your situation, Tiff, you're literally putting out people and helping, mentor and groom providers who can then turn around and do that. It's like,
absolutely. It was an answered prayer. Like I found a video, because we document all the time. So I found a video. I was in my apartment in whatever year I lived in an apartment, 2022, whatever. And I was very frustrated. I was so frustrated. I had seen like 5 patients that day, and they all did not know why they were on medication. They were telling me whatever reason they were drinking more water to help their blood pressure. Like there was just a lot that I was just like, the system is failing you all. And the system is failing you, not the providers. The system's failing the providers. So then the providers are failing the patients. So I was just like, I said, God, there has to be a way for me, because I'm only one person, to help more patients. And I said, I know you're going to give it to me. And then boom. So that was in 2021, because 2022 is when Telehealthpreneur initiated. And so then I started connecting the dots when I would have meetings with the NPs that I'm helping start their practice and identifying just how much they know. I'm like, oh yeah, it's making sense now, because we cover all 50 states now. And so that the more that I teach, the more patients that they can help, and it all came together.
Wow. I wanted to ask you, going back to you saying, taking a leap and just starting, can you highlight, even in your life, the last year of Telehealthpreneur, how much changes in a year? So for those people who are still like, I could.
12 months. 12 months, yeah.
Months of hard work. What has that done for you?
Man. So, okay, so when I decided to go all in, it was a sink or swim moment. I was accidentally unemployed. And so I was like, you know what? I have enough money in my savings account to get me until deadlines again, to get me until June. We'll figure it out then. Once I decided that this is what I wanted to do, everything changed. Like opportunities came to me that I said yes to, because why not? Why wouldn't you say yes to something? So I just said yes to almost everything. And then you figure out what you do and don't like after you say yes. Like you don't know, you see the final destination, but if you skip the journey, you will be stuck just looking at the final destination, because my final destination has changed. Like originally, I even found you because I thought I wanted a med spa. I went and did Botox training. I was like, absolutely, I don't want
Right. And it was worth the investment, right? To know that okay, bam, that's on my list.
These are not my people. And so, boom, I knew that wasn't for me. But in just a year, what has changed is I'm completely self-employed. I don't want or need for anything. Like anything that I just say that I want, I can go and get it. I travel. I had told these young ladies that I wanted to spend all year traveling.
Yeah.
And I didn't, they kept asking, where are you going to go first? What you going to do? I'm like, I don't know. It'll just happen. And it did. So, I mean, I do like 10 trips in 14 weeks. Like, I barely am home. Houston is home, but I'm like barely ever here. So that has changed for me. My network, like the people around me on a daily basis, the people I talk to on a daily basis, my network has completely changed. And that's what will a lot of people feel like they don't want to start because there's no one around to help them. Well, the minute that you decide to start, the people will come because you attract what you are becoming. So don't be afraid. Like, I mean, be afraid. You will be afraid, but just do it.
Yeah.
Because we're afraid of everything. Think about when we were baby nurses going to the floor.
Right.
I was so scared for the needle in somebody.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Now I'm like,
Right.
boom. There you go. So we're always scared, but for some reason, it feels safer to be scared for somebody else's business than to be scared for your own.
So I get a lot of people on call when I'm on calls and they say like, I'm worried about failing. I'm worried about losing money. I'm worried about, the unknown. And I say, those are all the things that will happen. You're not getting away from it. You're going to lose money. You're going to take some L's and you don't know what the heck is coming up. And so get rid of that, because if that is what is holding you, you will never, ever start.
Right.
Ever.
Because the thing is that all of those same things can happen when you're employed by somebody else.
Oh, that is so true. And they can happen when you're employed by someone else and they are to your benefit. Like you said, you took a training, you pay however much you pay for that training to learn that this is not for you.
Yes.
That is to your benefit. That L that you took is a way for you to become better as a person, as an individual, as an entrepreneur. So that L could have taught you a lesson. It could have been like your testimony, T for testimony, your test. It could have been that. Like, it is all about the way you spin it and frame it. And so I think that if we stop using excuses, because that's all we do, they're just excuses to stay where we are, and realize that you are failing if you don't do something that you've been called to do. To me, that's the big epic F. That it failed.
And that feeling will never go away.
Yeah.
It turns into regret and resentment. Opposed to motivation.
Right.
Now, while you feel it, you can be motivated by it.
Right.
You look back 10 years from now and you have that same feeling. Now you regret not doing it. Now you resent the idea of even trying to do it now because you consider yourself as failing, but you never even tried.
Right.
So use it as motivation. We're healthcare professionals, and so we know about the positive feedback loop and the negative feedback loop. Use that fear as a positive feedback.
Yeah.
Like, when I'm under pressure, I do my best. I don't like to do that now, but like when it was straight grind mode, I needed to be under pressure. I needed to feel like I had a deadline. I needed to feel like my family's future depended on me. I don't have kids, but I would like for my mom and my dad to retire without having to worry about anything. So if I can figure out how to stop exchanging time for money, everybody around me will learn how to stop exchanging time for money. And it's happening. Like, there's little bugs that they get inside just because they see. Close doing it. So it's like, absolutely, it's there's so much that goes into the journey and not just the destination.
It really is who you become in the journey. That's the biggest reward. You guys, it's not the money, I promise. You can make your $10,000 month, your $100,000 month. It doesn't matter, you guys. Really, the biggest reward is when you look back. And I always talk about this. There's this book called 10X is Better Than 2X by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And one thing that I just ate up when I read that book was the gain and the gap. And what he talked about is like, you are never going to reach your destination because you will always move the goalposts. However, that's when you're in the gap. If you're always like trying to get to that 10K month, to that 100K month, to that whatever, you're going to still, once you get to 100, you're going to push it to $1 million. You want your first $1 million month, $1 million day. But when you look back and you see how far you have come, then you're in the game. That's when you get emotional. Like, that's when I get emotional about where I started, being a teen mom, dropping out of high school. And like, they call me Dr. Jones. Dr. Who? Like, what, me? The hood Kiiyonna? Like, I don't understand it, right? But I look back and I appreciate it. And that makes me want to grind harder. It's not where I reach these milestones that I reach, because I'm never going to reach the one where I'll be like, all right, I'm done. Right?
Never.
You're going to keep on grinding. So like, look back and see how far you've come and appreciate that. And the only way, if you stay a nurse, and I'm not, some people love it. And for those who love it, I think keep doing what you're doing. But for those who feel like you are burnt, and I talk to y'all all the time, you feel like you're burnt out, you feel like you're unappreciated, you feel like you really can't care for your patients the way you want to, you need to do something. And I mean, you need to do something that requires a different version of you. There's a transformation that has to happen. And y'all don't want to go through that transformation because it's extremely uncomfortable. Oh, yeah. But it's the only way. And I always say this, like, you got a mountain in front of you. That sucker not gonna move. And that's what y'all praying for. You need to pray for the strength to climb it. It's not going to move. But on the other side of it is the life you want. Yeah. That means through the uncomfortable creation of content. And that means through investing in yourself and a coach. I mean, it may make you extremely uncomfortable to pay somebody. Yeah. A lot of people worried about that. Well, can you guarantee? Girl, no, I can't guarantee you nothing. Shit, you barely on this call with me, like, and it was free. So then they want me to guarantee. I'm not going to.
That information, the host is so separate.
So separately, boom. I can lead you some water, right? That's all I got for you. But I can guarantee you can transform yourself. I can guarantee you that God put this on your heart. And how is his business and not yours?
Exactly.
That's all you have to know. And I know it's weird because I was listening to you say like, all you have to do is like decide and like kind of show up, and people don't know what that do things differently. Your people around you will change, and they're like, well, what do I do? Go to a damn conference. Let's start there. Go to a conference by yourself. Stop asking for your friends to go with you. They're not gonna go with you. Go by yourself. Your tribe will meet you there. We met at a conference, and then Temp was already a part of the Nurse Boss Mob, and she was like, I'm a part of the Nurse Boss Mob. I'm like, for real? Like, for real. And then that was it. I'm like, oh girl, this is what we back and forth. This is how it goes, you guys, because people who are on their journey love to take other people with them, love to pour into other people. I know you do it all the time. I know you do it all the time. That's what we do. But y'all expecting y'all friends who've been knowing y'all from yay high, they don't know how to support you on the journey, you guys. They just don't have it in them. So Tiff, last thing I want to ask you. We know you have the Telehealthpreneur where you're helping. Tell us your one-liner. My name is Tifany Brown. I help Telehealthpreneur. I help what?
My name is Tifany Brown. I'm a certified family nurse practitioner, and I help nurse practitioners give the tools that they need to break free of burnout, one virtual visit at a time.
Let's go. That's important. Let me tell you. And why people think, especially nurses who are not nurse practitioners, why do they think nurse practitioners are not burnt out? The ones who work. They think employed nurse practitioners, they're burnt out.
We don't have getting paid less. They're burnt out.
Burnt out.
So Telehealthpreneur is the perfect collision between telehealth and entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. So basically, I feel like nurse practitioners are the best profession to lead this new frontier of virtual healthcare. The big tech companies, the big investors, they know it. That's why they're using us. That's why they are once again creating a whole infrastructure on our back, paying us pennies while they make millions. So instead, I give you the tools and the power to be able to do it yourself, to pay yourself what you are worth. Okay? It's either you let them pay you pennies and give subpar care. We're not helping patients that way. No. Or you step into your power. You create something that can actually change people's lives while changing yours at the same time.
Well, I'm going to say you either leverage
or be leveraged. I said that just the other day. Leverage or be leveraged. And that hurts. That was I don't want to be leveraged. Okay, so if people want to, first of all, our time is up and I'm mad because I knew this was going to happen. First, before we go, I want you to give, and this is something we ask of all of our guests, 3 things people can do right now to get to their next level. What are 3 things? And it doesn't have to be just for nurse practitioners. It can just be for nurses who are just trying to get to their next level. So it can be anything, mentorship, coach, books, whatever. What do you recommend? 3 things that you recommend.
Okay. 1, I recommend doing some mental health care first. No matter where you are, you can feel like that you have nothing that you need to work on. But if you want to get to a different level than where you are in your life currently, whether that be professionally or personally, you have to first start here. This controls everything else. Okay. So that's one.
That's good.
2, I want you to do something that makes you uncomfortable being around. Go somewhere that makes you uncomfortable. If it's going to be around people that are where you want to be. So the very first conference that I went to, it was very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, I don't belong here.
Yeah.
I was by myself, but look at who I met. So go around people that are doing what you want to do, and it's going to be uncomfortable, but you got to do it.
Yeah, that's right.
The third one is know that there is a higher calling over your life. Whoever you believe has created that calling. For me, it's God. He already has decided where you're going to go. Take that pressure off yourself. You don't have to figure out where you're going to go. What you do have to do is be obedient. So just be obedient, whatever. I keep just saying whatever you have inside of you, because you know what it is. You know what you're feeling. Not everybody has it, but you know what I'm talking about. So if you have that feeling, be obedient.
Yeah. That's powerful right there. And you guys, obedient means not doing what feels good.
Oh, no.
Okay. Even if it doesn't feel good, you still do it and you create a way. Like, if he's giving it to you, he's going to see you through it for sure. Okay, Tiff. So listen, I know you have some kind of webinar or something coming up. Okay, wait, before we get to that, I just have to ask you, how you be doing all them emails like that? How you be doing all this? Tiffany, if you guys are on her list, I'm like, she just told me that. I know that. If you guys are on her list, when I say this girl, I said she's a little Grant Cardone, a little Nehemiah Davis. Like, how are you with all of these emails?
I studied this was my marketing year. Doing good. I'm doing good.
You're doing amazing. You're making me step my game up. I was like, I need to write these emails. Tiffany, give us some advice. This is really me asking. How the heck do you do that?
I was in the grocery store and then I saw this and there'll be an email. Hey, guess what I found on my.
Are you committing to writing one a day? Like, what is your?
So there is one a day going out.
Are you writing one a day?
Absolutely not.
How is it in real time then?
I can't tell y'all.
Tell us.
The subscription.
I mean, give us a little something.
Okay.
They ain't gonna write no emails anyway until they get in your mentorship. They definitely not ready for that.
You need to leverage.
Okay.
You got to leverage technology.
Right, of course.
And then,
But the time, where do you get the time? I know tech. Where do you get the time? That's what I want to know.
I have more money than time, so I hire.
Yes, that's fine. Okay, you leverage, but it's your writing, Tiffany. I know that. Something you're doing to at least say, I want it to be about these topics.
Yeah. So I do a video. I talk about it all.
Okay. And then you get it transcribed. I got you. Oh, that's smart. Oof. I should have paid you for that, girl. That was good to see. All right, y'all. We're going to have a part 2. However,
I can help. I have free live webinar coming up on Wednesday. You can go to telemedicinestartup.com. It is extremely valuable. I basically want you to use this webinar instead of Google, because Google is full of a lot. So just come straight to the source. It is completely free. I have a time. It's BYOB. Bring your own beverage. And,
and who is it for? Tell us for.
Oh, it's for nurse practitioners.
Or aspiring.
So it's for nurse practitioners, functional medicine practitioners, PAs, physicians, and student nurse practitioners. Yeah. Because it's never too early to learn your opportunity.
Yeah. I love that. You guys, we need a part 2. I think we need a part 2. Because now we got to go a little bit deeper and talk to the entrepreneurs. We really need to talk to the you guys, this was amazing. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm just going to close it out with that. You guys, if you have nurse besties, nurse friends, that means nurse practitioners, even healthcare, you guys, we really want to empower all of you. Y'all don't gatekeep. Tell them about us. Until next time. Bye.